It's a little past 3:30. I really need my glasses. I'm going to give it a minute for everyone to cure. I've been reading this amazing book, The Book That Made Your World, how the Bible created the soul of Western civilization, and basically why the soul of Western civilization is no more, because we've cut out the Bible. And if y'all are wondering, yes, I got stung by a yellow jacket right there, and whew, it got me good. So overlook my face today. And I may have to do some creative lighting to read some of the stuff that I want to read. But I found some stuff in this book that is very interesting, and some of the passages that it talks about. And it starts off talking about Kurt Cobain and his death and what preempted his death. Oh, thank you, Sam. I'm literally sitting here waiting for my remedial FedEx man to find my house, even though he's been here like 46 times. So, but this book starts out talking about Kurt Cobain and what prompted his death, preempted, could have completely stopped kind of this whole role that Western civilization has been on. And it talks about how it all began just by the nothingness of nihilism creeping into our youth via music and other forms of expression. And so when you think that, you always think about how certain music sounds different, or different rhythms bring different emotions or sensations, or different hurts can create different healing patterns in the body. Duh. It's because music is energy. Energy always transforms into an electrical foundation, and the body is an electrical thing. And people say, no, it's not. My body's not electrical. That's okay. Well, when you have heart problems, why do they hook you up on telemetry? And why do they use certain software to hook you up on to read your brain waves? When they do EKGs and EEGs and all those things, they're using electricity to understand how your body is working and functioning. So, thank you. My hair is 2 days of summer heat. That's what styled it for you today. I'm glad you like it. But I found some really interesting passages from this. And I wanted to share a little bit with, if I can see enough to read. It said, Cobain's music appealed to contemporary America because it was full-throttle disharmony of rage, anguish, hatred, despair, meaningless, and obscenity. His song titled, I Hate Myself, I Want to Die. YouTube, that's a song title. I'm just quoting a song title. Or the Me, later changed to Waif Me. Most of what Cobain songs, most of what Cobain sang could not be deciphered. And many of his lyrics that can be deciphered have no apparent meaning. Whether he knew it or not, his lyrics were what they call Zen Kuns, counter-rational sayings such as, what is the sound of one hand clapping? Basically, if a bear craps in the wood, or does a bear crap in the wood, or if a tree falls in the wood and nobody's there to hear it, doesn't make a sound. One of those stupid things that doesn't have an answer, but logically we all should know the answer. Such words do not make sense because someone gave me all the Post-its I need. Thank you very much. I used them all. In the absence of revelation, reality itself makes no sense. Words are merely murmurs, sounds without sense, to be chanted or shouted. Now that takes us back to the chants or the shouts. Prayers used to be chanted. Why? The patterning. The patterning used to match certain hurts, certain what they thought were religious or perfect, holy rhythms, things that they thought were pleasing to the Lord. That's also how a lot of music became punk rock, and it was found displeasing to the Lord. Now I listen to a lot of different music, and I always tell my kids, you can listen to any music unless it affects your behavior, and then we're not going to listen to it. So I will listen to any music and take apart lyrics, and that's my favorite part, is the lyrics. But what really does affect people is the beat, the counter beats, the syncopation, the rhythm, and lots of times the electrical impulses, especially in rave music, the electrical impulses. Gypsy, I'm just trying to have a day where I'm trying to talk about something I've learned. So this book is blowing my mind. Like, look at the post-its I've already got stuck in this book. This book is blowing my mind. The book that made your world, how the Bible created the soul of Western civilization, and basically how Western civilization is falling apart because it has no soul anymore, because Western civilization has gone completely nihilistic and does nothing. There's no religion anymore. It's just self-doctrinization. You become what you want to be, and you make the world out to what you want it to be. And you live in your own, what you think is your own personal paradise. But if you are a follower of Christ, you know that this is not paradise. You know that this is your struggle. This is where you prove yourself. This is where your countenance is observed by God, and tabs are being kept. So now you can see the different mindsets at play here, and you can look at all the different cultures and all the different religions, and they all have some kind of accountability. And I get kind of tickled sometimes when I look at the trans issue in America right now. And and I've counseled, and I've seen people with gender dysphoria, and and I know that there's about 3% of the population, due to hormonal, intersex, or genetic issues at birth that require surgery, that benefit from, my hair will not stay, that benefit from transition, all requiring big medical issues. There's about 3%. So the rest are mimicry, or kids that are suffering, or kids that have mental health issues. And the largest population of children that are sucked into this trans orbit are children that are autistic, or children that are extremely introverted, children that do not have large support groups, or have a struggle with social support groups. And so they want to belong. It's very hard for them to belong. It's very hard for them to belong socially in a physical network. So they go online. Well, what do you find? In the majority online, you find a lot of nihilistic behavior and groups that preach self above all. And so the number one, and you can go and research this, don't believe anything I ever tell you, go and research it, but the number one most at-risk population for transition currently are autistic children, because they show most of the markers that are being allowed to be put into a expedited, freeway to transition. And it's just things that we need to be aware of. Just things that we need to be aware of. My granny never had any vaccines in her life. The first one she ever got was the Juby jab, because she was in a nursing home, and we threw a fit about that because the woman had never had a vaccine in her whole life. She raised children that had chicken pox and measles and mumps, and she never caught anything. The woman was tough as a pine knot. Turpentine. She literally, she didn't have anything turpentine wouldn't take off. She just, her immune system was great. But then they wanted to give her that jibby jab. Immediately her digestive function started to waver because of the heavy metals that were placed in her body that her body was not used to having, because she had not been raised on jibby jabs and she was not used to the heavy metals like most children these days are used to heavy metals being placed in their bodies. Now, why are heavy metals even in vaccines? Well, I'm sure that they'll tell you a whole bunch of stuff. Hi, Nip. We've got everybody here. Gypsy and Pocahontas. I think I saw Pocahontas and Sam, and we got everybody. Well, why would you put metal into anything? Well, no, when I was a kid, I had an electric fence that had a short in it, and I was too lazy to fix the short, so I fixed the ampage at the box by putting a piece of, when gum wrappers used to be all metal, real metal, like the real thin metal, and didn't have the backing on them back in the old days. I fixed that by screwing that into the fuse box and pumping up the ampage. Yeah, I fixed that. I fricasseed that nanny goat the next time she tried to get out of my fence. So I put metal there to pump up the ampage so that the signal was stronger. Why would a human body that doesn't require metals more so than just what it gets naturally, all of a sudden require abnormal or not naturally found metals to be in their body to actively use something that's supposed to normally help their already functioning immune system? I think they're amping up the wattage on us. I think that we are energy cells. I think that we are antennas. And I think that we are little batteries. We are the little RC cars that they're remote controlling around the world and getting information from. Because once you get a metal into the body, you can basically tap into any system that has electricity within it. Because what does metal always interact with? Electric. So it's kind of like they taprooted us. You can't wear a watch already. See, I don't wear a watch. I don't wear a lot. If I wear jewelry, I wear stainless steel. I don't like a lot of the. I like silver, but gold I don't. And I don't wear my wedding set a whole lot because it's gold, and I don't like the way it makes me feel. So I wear a lot of stainless steel or silver if I have to wear it, or I like to wear the copper wrapped rings. I love copper. Copper makes me feel good. And you can dig that apart and go into the metals game and figure out why copper makes me feel good. Silver doesn't make me feel as bad as gold, and gold makes me not feel well at all. You can go in and understand all of that if you want to research that as well. But a lot of these people are out there saying that, there's crazy people out there saying that, we're being used to gather information, we're being used in a form of weaponry, where our bodies are being used against us. And I have to say, it makes sense to me. It may not be the absolute truth in which they state it, but the premise makes sense to me. Because if you look at how humanity has changed over the last 3 years, normally that behavioral change would have taken 10 to 12 years, and we've done it in 3 years. So the aggressive behavioral changes, the fact that like simple assaults and assaults are up like 67% worldwide, domestic assaults are up way more than that. Physical aggression has just kaboomed in our land, And then you look at other things, and sheer stupidity is like everywhere. Like people will follow someone that makes absolute no sense to their death. And we're all sitting here going, why would you follow Kermit the Frog, saying something stupid? Why would, it's and we've seen other stupidity brain farts in our world, with the Kool-Aid, Jim Jones, and the Comet people. And yeah, we've seen massive amounts of stupidity. Never this much in this short amount of time. And it bothers me. It bothers me severely. And it might always go off time. Mine always go off time, and I just don't. That's why I've never had one of those iWatches or smart watches, or mine always go off time or they screw up. So it's a waste of money for me to have one. So I just don't have one. So yesterday something happened to me, and I thought, if this had happened 10 years ago, this would have been such an easy fix. So yesterday, a package that should have been delivered on Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest, did not show up. I did not get my normal SMS updates for the package. FedEx. It was the meal kits that David orders so that I don't have to go and do a whole bunch of grocery shopping, and he can patch and get a few things, and that way I'm not trying to walk for 2 hours in the only grocery store he have, and in and out in this heat and making myself worse during the summer. So I normally watch them. The little guy that has delivered him, they replaced him 3 weeks ago. And the little guy that delivered him was great. He knew me. He knew my dog. He brought my dog treats. He was great. I loved him. He was always on time, and if he wasn't, he messaged me and told me when he was going to be there. And I loved that man. He was a sweetie pie, to the point where when my windows were open and he could yell in, he'd say, "Hey, Elizabeth." So we were friends. They replaced him with a pod person. I'm beginning to think. With a pod person who's about as smart as the Secret Service who are trying to figure out who took cocaine into the White House right now. I'm thinking Mr. Magoo could probably solve that mystery. You just gotta laugh at some things, people. It's just stupid. So he's been here twice. This should have been his 3rd week's delivery, okay? He's still not here today. I'm still waiting, even though he's supposed to have it here by end of delivery day. He's still not here. The meal kit delivery refunded my payment for this week's meal kits because they're like, "Sorry, you're right. This is stupid." What happened was, apparently when the labeler was printing out the label of my address, it skipped, or the paper was folded and it looked like there was a space put between 2 words that are actually one. Now, logic would presume that if you've been at this house 47 times and it was the same words, just a little bump in a wrinkle in the label, probably the same house again. And then if you yourself had been there twice before, you know where you're going. So the 3rd time should be relatively much more easy. I still have 98% of my home visit map in my head from when I did home visits on offenders. So things stick, He just put incorrect address, cannot be delivered. So I called, and I was nice until I was not. I was nice until they wanted to make me think that I was the person with the problem. I wasn't the person with the problem. I pay you to deliver. They said, "Well, why don't you just pick it up at the nearest FedEx place?" Well, that's an hour and 15 minutes down the mountain. You see, that's why I pay the extra money for you to send it to me. You see how that works? I pay you because you're called FedEx, Federal Express. Shipping. Those words together mean something. Imagine that. See, now my name does not have FedEx in it, so I don't deliver things. I receive things. And then they thought, "Oh crap, we're working with a butthole here." So I said, I'm trying to understand how I've been on your app. I get SMS text. I always get updates. The other guy has never had a problem. Then you switch drivers. He's been here twice, but the 3rd time, even though all the letters were the same, there was just a blip, like a bend in the paper of the label that looked like a space. He put incorrect address, cannot locate. Now I have a very specific address with a very specific word that is not found anywhere else. And I said he could not deduce that was where it was supposed to go. And I said, I'm wondering not only how this man got his CDLs, but how he wipes his butt every day, because I'm very concerned for his well-being at this point. Because even if he had trouble finding my address, there's only 2 houses on this road. He's got a 50-50 chance if he just guesses. So they're like, oh, well, we'll notify you. We'll get it there. The meal place was like, if he gets it there, by such and such time, check the temperature. It should still be okay, but we're going to go ahead and refund you the money just in case. Still waiting. Haven't got an SMS, haven't got an update. Had to log in. I've logged in 3 times to FedEx, and it just says it's supposed to be delivered by end of day. I would have already gotten 4 updates from the other guy. 4 updates with smiley faces. And maybe I got pampered by the other guy. Maybe he went above and beyond. But to go from really good contact to no contact makes me think, okay, what's the company norm? I want to know what the company norm is. Because if I just had a really great delivery guy for the last 7 or 8 months and he's moved on and this is the company norm, then screw it. I will start riding a scooter to Walmart and buying my own daggum groceries, because I'm not going to have an aneurysm trying to hunt down somebody who can barely wipe his butt, let alone deliver a package on time. So, there are very simple tasks in the world. Like, some people have very difficult jobs. Like, I kept communities safe from murderers. If you have a box that has an address on it and the address has been here for 22 years, I would suspect it would be pretty simple to find the address, especially because I know that GPS will bring you right to me. So I'm thinking that's a pretty simple job. But I'm also trying to look at this in this way of, okay, over the last 3 years, our whole society has changed. We've become so nihilistic. Everything's about us. We don't want to serve others. Life is not about service to others or a higher power. It's service to ourselves. And so we don't think about others and what they may be going through. One of the questions was, well, why can't you just run down the mountain and get it? Because I might make it down the mountain and then my legs might not work and I might not be able to drive myself back up the mountain. That's why I pay you all to ship it to me. And just the fact that they asked me that, like, this is your job. This is what you do. I'm not supposed to do it for you. That's like me betting on a horse at the horse race and then saying, well, actually, why don't you let the jockey saddle you up? I'm pretty sure we're not going to win that one. But I found it ludicrous. And I'm starting to notice a lot more of this. And as I'm reading this book and I'm putting things together and I'm looking up the internet, the way the internet changed society, the way that we dealt with each other, everything is electronic. Even this, like I tell you all the time, this is nice. We're good people. We're a good bunch of people. But go and have real physical contact with people, because you need that actual real physical stimulation. You need that exchange of energy. This is not, as nice as we are and we love each other, this is not real. This is not even a good substitute. Go and meet real people and spend time with real people. Everything we do now is electrical stimulation, electrical or biosensor or sensory fed. We're being trained to basically be veal. To sit in a little crate and have fed to us whatever they want fed to us, and to suck it down without question, and then whatever they want to do with us, we don't question, we go on about it. And the more I read this book, the more I understand that it's been going on for decades now, not in any like super sinister way, just sneaking it into electrical impulses within the music, sneaking it into Western medicine in the forms and the foundations of the medicine itself, learning to perhaps augment our chemical compounds within our bodies so that we are more receptive to certain signals or impulses. If you start reading into this, you get a lot of information that you're not really prepared to digest, and it really scares you. I'm reading The book that made your world: How the Bible Created the Soul of Western Civilization by Vishal Mangawaldi. Let me see if I can get that. By Vishal Mangawadi. Great book. And it starts out with Kurt Cobain, and it starts out on a very, like, something we all kind of went through. We all understand. We can all kind of come together and talk about. And then he starts taking it apart and retracing the steps to how all of this came to be, and how our youth and our society no longer care. They've gone, instead of to finding service and meaning in their life, to nihilistic traits and serving no one but the self, and becoming so introspective that the world evaporates around them, and that is what is generating the depression and the darkness, and creating the animus that we're seeing in society today. And I'm just like mind blown, because of how simple that he makes it sound. And it feeds a lot into a lot of the research I've done also on the human biofield, the energy field that we all have. If you don't know anything about that, research the human biofield. Go to Odyssey, Odyssee, and look up the Psynergy channel, Psinergy. Listen to her. Sometimes she can be a bit abrasive. She's the sweetest person ever, but she's very serious about what she's talking about. And filter through, and try to listen and pick up points, and then go and research. And, you don't have to swallow anything 100%, but pick up a few things that you go, that's interesting, and go and research and start to understand what's going on. But this book is really changing my perception about humanity. I'm trying to keep my wits as all about me lose theirs. Is that I feel like duct tape. I feel like duct tape and super glue for the world right now. And it's like, excuse me, can you take care of it? Can you tie your own shoelace? I'm worried about people. And I shouldn't spend my time being worried about other people. I should be able to spend my time trying to live a happy life and service to whatever I find, appropriate to serve. I'm not going to force you all into my religion or culture, but it's like, the other day someone said something about Ryan Epchurch's new girlfriend that they didn't like the look of her. And I said, well, I don't know her, so I can't say anything about her. And they said, well, that they preferred Bethany. She seemed to be a little bit more modest. And I said, well, I checked Bethany's Instagram, and modesty kind of went out the window the other day. And I said, but I'm never going to belittle a woman for being confident about her body. But just because I'm okay with you being confident about your body doesn't mean I want to see all your bits. Like, there's a bazillion people in the world that are allergic to peanuts. They're okay with other people eating peanuts, but they like to have some space. But we don't even care. We don't care about people anymore. It's all about self-gratification, self-glory. It's all about the self. And so when I call a customer service where I'm paying for something to work correctly, and they make it sound like I have this huge expectation. He's only a day and a half late. He's only delivering food. Okay, well, you just smack this fat heifer's hind end and you're fixing to get kicked, because that's how I respond when you tell me something stupid. Yeah, leave something to the imagination. Leave a lot to the imagination. Yeah, the weather, the smoke distraction. Yeah, we're getting a lot of haze here, and I'm like, tell me, with the wind patterns that normally have blown for hundreds of years, how we're getting that smoke here? With the trade winds and the wind patterns that for hundreds of years boats and people used to make it around the world, why all of a sudden all of that has changed? Really? It didn't change until we found self-propulsion. That's weird. Sure, the people that were in the peppercorn trade, if they were born today, they'd be like, what the heck? But it's like, how are we getting this here? How is this making it here? A bigger issue that I would have anticipated causing me issues was the Ohio train derailment and all of that chemical crap. We got none of that. But somehow these wildfires made it. Really? 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 And it wasn't even, it didn't even have the smell to it. It looked like a hazy condensation morning. It didn't look like smoke to me. It looked like when I would drive down the mountain and you'd see the condensation rising, and I'd ask my mother, I'd be like, "Mom, what's that?" And she would say, "Oh, the bunnies burnt their breakfast." That's what my mother always called the condensation rising off the mountain in the morning. The bunnies burnt their breakfast. But there was never any smoke smell. That's what this reminded me of, because it looked like smoke, but there was no smoke smell. There was no tangible effect of it being smoke. There was no irritation to my eyes, but there was a heavy humidity. And I'm like, this isn't smoke, because if it was smoke, the humidity effect would be negated. So I was just kind of like, thinking about these things. It should, the live where I was talking about Ron should load, or you can go to my actual page and click on my lives and find it and watch it. I only spoke about him for a minute. I just want him to stop giving. When his family talks about him, I just want him to be like, let him talk. Don't worry. You don't have to address him, because if you address him, then they still have control, even if it's just a little bit. He's done so much to remove 95% of the control they had over him, and he's doing so much better. But when he responds to them getting on the internet and moving around, they still have control. Just leave them alone. Let them talk. They're going to talk. They're like seagulls. It's what they do best. It's what they do best. Just let them do it. Walk away, walk away, go the other way, and live your life. Be happy. That's going to annoy them more than anything you could ever say. But if you respond, they know that they still have that minuscule thread tied to you. Break it. And let him know that nothing they do bothers you. And he will finally be free. But until he learns not to respond, and that's something he himself needs to work on, and I have things I need to work on too. We all have things we need to work on, but that's something he needs to work on as a priority. I don't know anything about the new girlfriend. I don't know anything about her character or demeanor. I know that she sings really well. That's about all I know about her. So I'm running blind on her and behavior. I've not seen a lot of videos with her, just normal baseline behavior. So I've not drawn any kind of conclusions about her demeanor or what kind of person she is. I'm sadly not spending much of my life in that realm. I listen to the music, but I kind of leave the hype alone, because I got really tired of, they wanted to suck me into that. And I was like, excuse me? Excuse me? I was like, nope. Just because I'm kind but firm does not mean that I'm a pawn on your chessboard. So, excuse me. No, thank you. And y'all, and really, when Miss Patty snapped on me, I was just like, listen, if you're 50-something-year-old and you can act like you're 13, I got no business being around you. None whatsoever. I passed that up when I was 10, y'all. That's just, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen with me. So I'm running blind on that. So don't know much about her. But I do want you all to start looking into more important things. Yeah, I've been too busy too. I've been too busy with things that really affect me. Like everybody's like, oh my God, they found cocaine at the White House. Well, we got video of him sniffing it off his hooker's butt. Does it really surprise you? I mean, it would only surprise me if the holy trifecta had been found at the White House, which would have been the guns he wasn't supposed to have, the cocaine, and the international hookers. That holy trifecta would have really been like, whoa, that's at the White House, but just one of the three? I mean, we know it's what he does. It's just like, pig pen, leaving a little trail everywhere he goes. That is Hunter Biden, just with cocaine. Oh, I'm sorry, Parmesan cheese. It's Parmesan cheese. How dare you say it's cocaine? It's Parmesan cheese. Because we all know how healthy that is for your sinuses. Oh, Johnny Gobble has something to say about everything. He is the man that has lived the least, but knows the most, and accomplished nothing, but swears he's created the world and deserves all the recompense. He's like that Banny Rooster that everybody has that they know they need to just go ahead and put in the dumpling pot. But he's amusing to watch. In the evenings when he runs around and acts like he's, big King Herod, they get the biggest, laugh out of some of his behavior. And they like to watch him get beat down every once in a while by one of the other roosters. And so they just can't quite bring themselves to put him in the dumpling pot, even though it's a problem. Because he's a little entertaining in the evenings when they sit on the porch. That's how I equate him to, that's how he fits into my world. So, I know, the missing children's cases, have you seen the spike? Of course, we have 85,000 missing immigrant children in the nation right now that our government gave to sponsors that cannot even be located, children that can't be located. Oh, how smart we are. And I could give a rat's hind end about the adults that are coming in, but when you take a precious young baby, a child, most of them are 5 years or younger, into this country, that's a responsibility. You should be taking care of that child. And I don't care if somebody says, well, they don't need to live in institutions. Listen, an institution is better than a dirt floor in a tent doing God knows what to eat your scrap of food every night. So shut your mouth, AOC. It's just like, look at things in a relative nature instead of an idealistic nature. Look at these kids. And we're starting to see more and more. And isn't it funny how, as the population in America climbs rapidly, especially a population of people that we can't find, identify, or locate because we have no fingerprints, mugshots, identifying factors, or anything, and they're not showing up for the court dates. But isn't it funny how, as our population is imploding from these immigrants, we're seeing a lot of third world country behavior start to become prominent in our nation. More children disappearing, more assaults, more violence. One equals the other, y'all. When you open up, let me just give you an example. My grandpa bought a pasture next to his one time because he needed more space. He bred beef cattle. And his steers sometimes would get hateful. And he thought, well, if they had more room to roam, they'd leave each other alone. And he thought, I'm going to have to buy more acreage if I'm going to run this many cattle, or I'm going to have to reduce my herd. So I bought more acreage. He opened the gate. He fenced it and opened the gate, left it open. Guess which ones were the first ones to find that open gate? The troublemakers. And they went and tested the whole fence, because once they got a little bit of freedom, they wanted more. And then when all the other cattle thought, well, we'll go over here and graze too, no, they would run them back to the other. They own that place then. Now, I know I bring stuff down to an animalistic behavior, but really we are animals too. The psychology and behavior is the same. When you get new turf, you exact ownership in some way, shape, or form. Especially if you thought you got it with no strings attached, or you got it and you deserved it for some reason, then you exact ownership in some way, shape, or form. Is this ownership showing up in assaults and missing children and these behaviors becoming the norm in America now? Is that what we earned by giving refuge to people without asking them for a thumbprint and a name and an identification marker. Y'all, I want to have a dog in my yard that ain't chipped. But we got how many millions of people running around America we can't find, don't know their name, don't have any way to identify them. And we got 85,000 missing babies. And the people that they chose to sponsor the babies are not people that I would have chose to babysit a dog. So, you know, we got the fox handling the hen house. You know, and we all know what that's going to bring. So, well, that's about all I wanted to say. Start picking your brain. Start asking yourself hard questions. Start looking into things that you may not understand or you may not completely agree with, but find interesting points to stretch and think kind of beyond the box that we've been in our whole life. Absolutely look up the Internet of Bodies. Absolutely look up the human biofield. Absolutely look up piezoelectricity. Absolutely look up the Synergy channel on Odyssey. And absolutely, if you have the ability, read this book. The Book That Made Your World by Vishal Mangalwadi. And I'm butchering his name, I'm sure, but I'm sure he probably butchered mine too, so it's okay. It's sad. Like when you see these kids and you know 90% of them should never have been in the circumstance they were in to disappear. But then you look at family courts that don't function. Family courts are more of a pissing contest than they are about the children. They're more about who's going to give who money and who's living better than who. And you know, I'm going to get mine and I'm going to have 5 more kids, so I'm sure I'm going to get mine. And it's just like, no. These babies are not like bonds that you buy. These are human beings that you are bringing into this world to take over the world, the next generation. My only hope is that this generation and the next that sees what's occurring finds it so abhorrent that they stop all of this. That they tolerate none of it as we have. That's my hope. That's my hope. So, I don't know if you learn a lot from me. I think I'm a head scratcher, but I don't think I'm terribly smart. I just think that sometimes people like to make things difficult so that we don't pick up on how really simple it is. And if you can plug a potato up to a light bulb and run it, imagine what the human body could do. And imagine what we could be if we were just a little army of batteries and antennas. And if we are batteries and antennas, imagine what we can be receptive of without our consent and not know it. And maybe we might ought to be wondering about that. Especially with all the behavioral changes we're seeing in the world that don't align with physiological or behavioral impulses or psychological standards of like amping up behavior to change and alter behavior. As you think you are. That's right, Annette. And I try to think about everything. I try to never say anyone has like you know, oh, I can't believe you believe that. I will put everything in a pile, and then I'll sift through the pile, and what I can get something from, I'll hang on to, and what I can't, I'll shove it off. You know, and you don't have to digest everything, but you know, sometimes we need to kind of take in a bigger pile to sift through rather than being so selective, because there's a lot that we've been trained to overlook. And we need to stop overlooking it now. More than scratching my head. It's scary sometimes, isn't it? Michael Jackson, your honest opinion, please. That glove was a mistake. No, I'm just, did you ask me a question earlier, Michael? I mean, that is my honest opinion, please. I think we live in a world that is nihilistic and turned to more of a self-hatred, self-harm, or self-idolizing. All of that turns into a disingenuous relationship with others or yourself. It turns into a negative, it turns into a depressive state. It sucks inward like a black hole and implodes, and you're left with nothingness. And when you're left with nothingness and you feel empty, then you want everyone else to feel empty, or you want everyone else to feel worse than you so that you feel better than them. And that's what our society has turned into. So instead of helping each other live better lives, we just want you to have a worse one than us, because that will help us feel better. That's why everybody spends 5 hours doing makeup to go on Instagram to do a 15-minute post, and they think those 15 minutes are real life. No, honey. No, honey. No. No, but you did waste 4+ hours of your real life putting on that makeup to spend 15 minutes with people that, you'll probably never interact with. Now, I'm lucky. I've got some subs that I've become very close with that live very close to me, and I've gotten to know. And I don't want to have a bunch of subs. I don't want to be a big channel. I want to have quality people here that want to ask quality questions and have quality discussions. And every once in a while, we run across the turd and we have to pitch it out of the punch bowl and say, sorry, you don't belong here. But for the most part, everyone's welcome here. But I think that there is, there's definitely a good versus evil battle going on right now in the world. There always is. As long as mankind is on the world, there will have to be that battle. But I also believe there is a lot of stuff being used as a front so that people, their well-being, their health, their bodies, and even their mindsets, their brains, their behaviors can be used to dictate the world, wars, conflicts, everything. If they can make a cloud that can piss on you for 45 minutes, what else can they do? Every time they fire up CERN and you ask them, what are you doing? Well, we don't know, but we just fired this thing up. A lot of people have horrible, reactions and say they see horrible things, but they keep turning the stupid thing on. It's like the little 5-year-old that keeps grabbing the electric fence. Some people just need to be told no and put in a padded room because brains was not their forte in life. But, we've got some people that have some really bad motives. And the motives is not for a better society. The motive is to serve themselves. And that's never going to create a positive world if we serve ourselves. I always try to think of, well, how's this going to affect other people? How's this, and if I behave this way or if I have this reaction, how's it going to affect someone else? I spent my whole career doing that when I was a parole officer and a counselor because I was responsible for the well-being of those people. And yet I see less than 2% of people that I meet actually wonder about how they affect others. So it's just, sorry. So it does. Yeah, it does. And and it worries me that I go through life and I see, about 2% of people worry about how they affect others. And the other 98% are just like Paris Hilton putting their little dog in their pocketbook and strutting down the road and worried about how they look and what they have on and who's looking at them and what they can get. And it's like, that's your whole goal for life. That is how empty and vacuous you must be. And if that is your life, what's the pinnacle of your life? What is the thing that what's the mountain you're climbing to where your life has meant something? For me, it's to look back and to see that I raised children that are going to be better stewards of this earth than I was, that are going to create a better society than my generation did. But we're not even having children anymore. Or if we do, they terminate them before they get here. And it's just like, it's time to start asking the hard questions. And why does all the stuff that they seem why is all the stuff that they say is women's rights or feministic qualities, why does all of that benefit normally a federally funded program that has no oversight? Really? I mean, if you want to really read about a group of trans people that are revered and have been acclimated into culture in a way over thousands of years, go read about the Hijra in India and how they have become these special people in this culture that do blessings, and they're kind of outsiders in society, but they're celebrated for what they've become to their culture. Their culture didn't heed to them. They found their place in their culture. Well, why in America does American culture have to heed to everyone else? Why doesn't everyone else have to find their way into the culture? Why do we have to bend over backwards and take it up the hiney and buy stock and Vaseline? We shouldn't. You should be able to blend and find your own way to be compatible with the society that is current. So if you have questions about societies that have these communities, go read about the Hijra, the Hijra, the Hijra in India. Go read about that subsect of their population and how their culture has appropriated them and celebrated them, but they still have their space. They didn't just come in and take over. Never in a society has a takeover of a 2% population ever resulted in the furtherance of humanity, because it's only 2% of the population. 2% can do nothing on its own. It requires the 98% of the other people they've made angry. So why are they making us angry? Because that energy gets them what they want. It gets them the media, the time, the court cases, the emotional conflict that's going on in our nation. That's what all of this is. But they're just like 2% of the population. And they should be able to acclimate to the population, because that is the whole thing. If you have dysphoria, you want to acclimate into the population to where you blend. You do not celebrate things you can't camouflage. Not according to any diagnostic manual. But what they're doing is using animus to overtake and overcome. That's not how society blends. So if you want to see how society kind of comes together and works these things out, even though they're very strange and may go against certain religions or beliefs or practices, and go read about the Hijra in India and how they've been embraced and used and become this very well-respected, predominant, but yet subsect of the population, but are revered in their own way. And then look at the U.S. and look at the differences. It's amazing. It will make you think. I'm encouraged every time I see a young person hold the door too. Hey, Richard. I'm good today. Oh, well, if I see a young person being good, like doing something super sweet, I try to praise them, because I'm sure that is something they don't get very much of these days. So I try to praise them. I keep looking and hoping that my FedEx man's showing up, but every moment that passes, I really believe that he just Can't even follow GPS prompts at this point. I'm concerned. I'm very concerned at this point. But I have seen the decline of society for a long time just because of the work I've done as a parole officer and a counselor, and with juveniles that should have been in prison that were in wilderness boot camps that were basically prisons. The trees were the bars. I've seen the decline of the quality of the parental units. I've seen the decline in the quality of adoptions that occur internationally. It enraged me. And so I've seen this coming, and I've tried to talk about it, but I'm just one person. And I was always working 60 to 80 hours a week. And so really trying to reach out and talk to other people was very difficult. And when you're a government or federal employee, you can't talk about certain things. You have to talk where you can talk. And now that I'm not obligated to any agency, I can say what I want to say. Honey, I don't have a GoFundMe. I'm not monetized or anything. I just get on here and talk. And I talk about things that I don't think money should swap hands for. So I will never be monetized. Because I normally talk about the big ticket items that really affect your life. And I don't think that money should be involved in those conversations. But I appreciate you thinking about me. I'm just send me good energy and good vibes, and I'll be good. I have a solar light addiction, and mostly is because I like to be able to see shadows in my yard. And we also have a lot of black bears here our black bear population has kaboomed, like quadrupled in the last year. And so we're having a lot of issues with black bear. And we had one in the garden the other night, and he walked right through my corn. So I try to put as many lights on as around the yard as possible. I've got to replace my fence lights because a lot of them have died. They were very old though, so I've got new ones to put on. But and I go outside at night and swim. Like when David finally gets home from work, if I want to go outside at night and swim, I have enough lights I can go out and swim at night. I'm packing when I go out to swim because I don't know if there's a big black bear that's also swimming in my pool. But but we have a lot of black bears, so I use a lot of lights. But I also use it because of my job. If somebody ever tries to come into my yard or my home territory, I'm going to know how the shadows cast, and I'm going to know where you're hiding, and I'm going to be able to see you. Is that the month where it was it? I read an article about SSI was going to give 2 payments in 1 month, but then they would go 30 days without something. And I thought, bless everybody's flipping hearts. Oh, honey, you're not going to get hate for that. Don't worry about that. You're fine. Just send me some good energy and good thoughts. Oh, Annette, you just said a mouthful. And I can't say it because I'll get slapped for it. But everybody read Annette's. Miscreants is one of my favorite words. Oh, no, oh, gosh. My tomatoes are still doing good, but they're behind where we had the tornadoes and had to replant them. So, but they're growing good. You can land a 747 in the barn. Yeah, we have that string of lights you got coming too, 72 or 73 foot. You're going to be able to make a whole runway. The 12 that didn't pay the bills for the first. I'm behind. What's the story on that? I'm behind on that. Does anybody else know what's going on there? When I tell you that when I get to studying something, I lock my mind in a vault. I do. And then you have to go, excuse me, there's a world out here, Elizabeth. Are you paying attention? Oh, my barn lot? Oh, yeah. Imagine if I put lights on my barn. Wouldn't that be pretty? David would oh, gosh. He would be like, no, leave the barn lot mainly. I can hear him now. Don't put any lights on the barn. Just leave me the barn lot. I like to see where I'm walking when I'm outside at night. Thank you very much. Oh, people aren't getting paid till the 12th. I wonder why they did that. That makes sense. Well, look, nothing with this government or anything that they run right now makes any sense to me at all. So we'll just leave a blanket statement over that. Just say I'm confused at all of it as well. They have one job, and it is to protect the citizens of this nation. You got one job. They're failing miserably. Oh, bless your heart, honey. I cried for 2 weeks when I had to pay them plumbers. You never think that being between two tornadoes would cause that much damage just from the wind shear. Just because it got the right angle and went up a vent pipe. It's like blowing into a McDonald's empty sweet tea cup and blowing the cup apart. That's basically what the tornado did to my plumbing. And I'm like, how did you do that? Why did you do that? Pack heat for varmints. I'm always packing heat for varmints. Varmints is a very, wide encompassing word. Honey, when people ask me for money, I tell them I'll give you my 2 cents, and that's about all you're going to get. I'm hateful. I am so hateful. I'm on such a budget. Like, if anything changes, it's a drastic issue if anything changes. So we are on such a budget, and that plumbing about ruined us. And it was I never knew, and I looked at the plumber, and excuse me, I'm going to be rude for just a minute, but I looked at the plumber and I was like, okay, I want you to look at this. This 1.5 inch pipe right here goes down to a 3 to 3.5 inch pipe. That waste and shit goes down. But I'm paying you like it's gold. And he just looked at me and laughed. And I thought, well, I'm glad you thought it was funny, because I sure did not. But he thought it was very funny. And yeah. So I ended up having to use 2 plumbers because I did not call him back. I actually got a local guy to finish it who was much better and much nicer and much cheaper. And but boy, I'm telling you what, and I told the first guy that showed up, listen, I did not buy stock and Vaseline as a child. I do not want to be screwed over on this job, but it's amazing. Like, he wanted $285 just to show up. Well, honey, if I could do that and get paid by the pound, I'd be a millionaire. If I, wish one hand of crap in the other, and tell me which one fills up first. So he didn't come back the second day. But I'm just honest. I'm very open and honest, and if I think it, I'm gonna say it. So that's what I told him, and he didn't much care for it, but I didn't much care for the bill, so we were even. Yeah, everybody there is gypsy. Look at the finances of. I mean, and you keep hearing people. Oh, I found a way to tick people off. Okay. These people that are doing really well, that are buying Teslas and stuff. I heard this and I thought, I'm going to start doing it. So when you see a Tesla, and especially you people like me that live in Bumpkinville, look at it and go, my Lord, them new Toyotas are getting pretty daggum spiffy. You are going to absolutely enrage whoever owns that Tesla, because you just discredited their whole personal score of who they thought they were in their head by thinking they were driving a Yoder. So I'm going to start saying, boy, them Toyotas are getting pretty spiffy now, ain't they? And I'm just going to walk away and see what they do. I don't care if they think I'm the most stupid person in the world, because I know it will irritate them so much. Because they're going to be like, well, no, that's a Tesla. They cost this many thousands of dollars. Have your anxiety and a little life fit. That's what I want. I'm going to walk away and laugh. a video. Yeah, you should. If you have something worth saying, say it. The problem with the world right now is not enough good, decent people are talking. We're all being quiet, going, I hate to cause more problems. Cause more problems. We need more decent problems to be caused instead of the people with the really bad ones running. Do videos. Share your perspective. Protect yourself. Don't give away, where you are, and protect yourself. But yes, do content. Even if you just do a StreamYard and you just put up an avatar and you don't put your face, your likeness up. Share your thoughts, share your content. The only way that you can really shift energy in the world is to talk about it and put it out there. That's the only way that you can change energy, is to manifest it and put it out there. So yeah, do videos. Oh, I would love for like AOC to have to come in and live off of my budget a month. I would love for her to have to. She was the one that was throwing such a fit about it was so expensive to move to Washington D.C. and then her nanny's house got hit by that hurricane, and she wouldn't do anything to help her nanny, but she went and bought a Tesla. And then the Republicans took up money to fix her nanny's house, and then she fixed her nanny's house and sent that money to help the rest of the community. And I was like, you little princess. Them little girls like that, I just like to just take them and roll them in cow manure and let them have a taste of what they really are, a pile of crap. I'm mean, ain't I? I'm mean. I have a little dark spot in my heart, and I embrace it with all I have. It's what gets me through the bad days. Oh, Gypsy says she's shy. She lets me fuss. I can fuss for, Lord, 3 or 4 cities at least. And it's true. I can. I can talk to the cows come home and then some. But y'all, if I ever asked you to buy a book or try to find a PDF online or an Audible, the book that made your world by that guy, Vishal Mangawati or whatever his name is. Look, thank you to the Post-it Queen. She brought me tons of Post-its. I'm using them. I'm learning stuff in here and putting it together and going, well, shucks. I don't think I'm stupid, but I miss things a lot. And sometimes I have a vapid moment where I'm like, wow, I wonder how many flies I caught that day, because everything just whoop. This makes me feel stupid. As I'm watching this, it makes me feel stupid. Oh, I'm getting a held message. That's right. It's our given rights. I love hidden messages. You like my transparency? Honey, I got no filter. I got no backspace, no edit, delete button. It just comes out. And sometimes it's not pleasant. And sometimes I have to eat my own words. I have to go, oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Or I was wrong. Or there's always one in the crowd, and today it's me. And I'll do it. I'll completely take ownership over it. But it's more important, I think, that we say it and we get it out there. Because if we stop having dialogue and communication, that's just going to further break down society. So we need to be talking. Everybody needs to be sharing their perspective, and they need to be passionately sharing their perspective. They need to be finding like-minded communities. It's not called being bigoted. It's called being homogenous. And homogenous communities are safe communities because like-minded people feel safe together. It's not called being xenophobic or bigoted or racist. It's just called being homogenous. And that has nothing to do, it's called being a herd animal. We are herd animals, and it bothers me with the way that they're trying to break down human beings in making all of our psych issues such hateful things. No, it's just animal behavior. We're animals. I'm unfiltered probably 99% of the time. It's very rare that I'm filtered. I used to be very quiet and I never said a word out of place because children were to be seen and not heard, and I followed all the rules and I didn't want to be a problem. And then I realized that everybody else around me was dictating my life, and if I didn't open my mouth, I was going to be in a problem. And so I started learning how to talk, and I never stopped. And it just got worse every day after that, or better, depending on who you are. So, but that's all I wanted to say today. I just want to get on here and go and get interested, get curious. Don't look at something and roll your eyes and think that can't possibly be true. When you read about the Edgewood experiments and you read about, just go read about the Edgewood experiments, okay? Just start there. And then start thinking about what other possibilities are out there and what other things you may need to look into and what other questions you may need to ask, and what behaviors within yourself that you have noticed have changed over the last few years, and what may have created that change, and what am I seeing around me change that is abnormal, for my area. Pay attention and ask questions. Oh yeah, I'm the friend that you never put on speakerphone, ever, because there's no telling what I will say. And if you put me on speakerphone, I'll probably say something just because I know you put me on speakerphone. That's just how I am. Keep doing and research. And if you've got one that you want to share, email it to me at watersworkload@gmail.com, and I'll put it on my community page and we'll share. And it's like I've told you, if you're having a hard day and you need a blessing, my old parolee that I call Pantene, his YouTube channel is Chris Stringer. There's a lot of them, but he's there with a guitar. He just started. I'm his first and only sub at the moment, I think. He's got one video, one song. He's starting to post his songs that he writes and some that he just sings, but he writes a lot of them on YouTube. He does a musical ministry now. He was supposed to be the most aggressive and violent offender that I had on my caseload. He's the sweetest person you'll ever meet. So Chris Stringer, he's putting his music on YouTube. I call him Pantene because when I supervised him, he had long, lush blonde hair. And I gave all my parolees nicknames to try to irritate him, but also to try to pinpoint the personality, and I called him Pantene. Go find him, support him. If you need a blessing, listen to him sing. It'll bless you. Just to see a man that should have been doing 20 years in prison, who straightened his life up, and realized something that was more important than him and his addiction. And he straightened his world up and he got right, and things started falling into place for him. And now he's a blessing to others. And it's just amazing. So when I'm having a craptastic day, I'm like, I'm going to have to go listen to Pantene. I need to go listen to my Pantene. Oh yeah, I don't like the pronoun crap either. Just wait. I mean, that's what I said the other day in a video. I said, pretty soon we're only going to be able to speak in participle phrases. I mean, they are taking apart our language, because if you take apart the language, then you break down the law. If you break down the law, then you break down the culture. I mean, right now, if somebody was trying to convict me of something, they would have to identify me as a middle-aged female. I'm sorry, back that up. I'm a what? I'm a female? Really, a woman? What's a woman? You can't even biologically identify me. How are you going to convict me if you can't even biologically identify me? I mean, if there's so many questions and so many ways to look at things, we're breaking down our own society, and it starts with a breakdown of the vocabulary, the vernacular. I mean, it's been done how many other times? I mean, Rome, anyone? Hi, Leva Cats. My pool is so clean and sparkling clear. I was in it this morning. I got to take a dip this morning and do my physical therapy exercises, and I literally spent 5 minutes seining the top, and then I spent 20-something minutes doing my exercises. I did not have to spend a half hour cleaning my pool. I don't know if you feel it, but literally I send you a hug every morning because I love that sand filter. That is the best thing I've ever paid to be shipped to me. And hey, it actually got to me. I'm still waiting on my groceries. So we'll see if they get here. That sand filter's amazing. I feel stupid for not having one for so long now. That's how redneck I am, y'all. I live in my comfort zone. I went to school. I have a master's in psychology. I was a parole officer and a counselor. And so I have a very professional mindset, but I never left my Cherokee Appalachia roots. And a lot of people got mad at me because I wouldn't stop twanging. Well, I'm sorry. I have a dying dialect. I'm going to hang on to it because I'm one of the last people to have it. So, you ain't going to make me stop something that's, I am a rare specimen. And, but I never left my roots very far behind. So when I had to retire because of this injury and this neuromuscular disorder that developed, I just went back to my roots. And now my roots have a different perspective because I have a lot of education to also blend with them. And so I think very differently than most people in this area. But luckily, it's a good blend to reach out and to kind of pull people in, and if they can't see it one way, they can see it the other. So I have like a little bifurcated viewpoint that a lot of people like to come into, because if they don't understand it one way, when I explain it the other, they will. And so I try to be really easy to follow because, okay, education and smart are two different things. Because I'm educated, and some days I'm lucky to tie my shoes, y'all. So being educated and being smart, two different things. Common sense is where it's at, and I think I have quite a bit of that, although some days I wonder. But, so I try to use everything that I have pulled together in life to benefit you all when I have conversations. And when I find something that intrigues me, I want to share it. Amen, Annette. You've earned your right. You say what you want to say. That's what you ask somebody else. What's your credentials? What do you do to help shape this world and to save people and to keep people safe? But we just got to start looking at things a little bit differently and being curious about things that we might otherwise find fictional or fantastical. Be aware there are a lot of things that are made to look fictional or fantastical so that you won't be interested in them and you won't look into them. Please look into the Internet of Bodies. Please look into the human biofield. Please look into piezoelectricity. Please look into the electrical components and the biosensors of the human body. Please look into these things and understand how you are a wiretap service waiting to happen. I'm saying common sense is way more important. Common sense is way more important. Because every time I do something stupid, I look at my husband and I said, listen, I'm educated. I never said I was smart. And he kind of laughs at me. But, curiosity is where it's at, y'all. It doesn't matter how smart you are. As long as you have a curiosity, an open curiosity, and will go and research and find for yourself, you will always find your answer. Hey, Ashley, I'm doing good. Boy, you came right in at the end of it. Doggone it. It's good to see you, though. I've had a good run through of everybody, I think. I'm trying to get back and do a couple of things before I have to go down the mountain to take care of Mom after her knee surgery. So I'm trying to visit with y'all and let y'all know what I'm up to. So this is a good video. This is a good scratch your noggin, ask yourself some personal questions kind of thing. Probably the next thing I do will be a pre-recorded craft video because that's just kind of what my week is setting up to be. But I just wanted to get on here and speak my piece about that, talk about some of the stuff, the reading, the research. It is difficult. Find your way to do it, though. Your way to do it may be image search through Google, because I know how your brain works with images. So you may need to do a word search, but click on the image tab and then start linking images and then say, okay, well, when I do this word search, I see these images. These images are what? What do they reflect? Or they reflect this? Well, that doesn't make sense. And start putting the pieces together. Find your way to research. Find your way to view the world and view it. Because nobody sees the world the same way. That should be a strength. That should be a strength. So what you see as a weakness, because I can't do it, I see it as strength. Because my brain does not do images the way yours does. So I see that as a strength. I do. I go down rabbit holes sometimes, and my husband has to fish me out. But sometimes that can find some really good things. So, but be curious. Look at the things I've mentioned. Check out that Odyssey channel called Psynergy, Psynergy. Watch a few videos. You can understand if you watch a few videos why sometimes she's abrasive, because she's very upset at how easy this knowledge should be if people would just pay attention and look beyond and ask a question or two. So don't take it personal when she, because she's the sweetest woman you've ever met. But sometimes she's so smart, it takes me 5 days to catch up with her. And like I said, I just put everything in a pile, and what I can use, I keep, and what I can't, I pitch. And just do that with everybody you run into. And eventually you will have accumulated a little pile of stuff that helps you understand the world in a better way. The court drama. Bless his heart. I pray for the boy, but as long as he has money, he'll be in court. Let me rephrase that. As long as he has money, is single, and has girlfriends, he'll be in court. Because those things are all tied together now in relationships and society. Because with women now, we've liberated ourselves from being sexual objects, that now we've just come full circle and we're sexual objects. So if we're your girlfriend for a matter of time, then you owe us money. You owe us financial compensation for our comfort that we provided you. Feminists, didn't you do such a good job? Just round we go. Stupid. Bless the boy's heart. Bless his heart. As long as he got money, he's going to be in court. I hope that he eventually does find somebody worth settling down with and has the quiet life that I think he wants and deserves. He's getting there. He's definitely paring down the people that are causing him problems, but he's still got a lot of work to do. But I think he's doing it. So I'm proud of him. But I'd like to see him have a much better life. Okay, I'm now going to shut up because I'm tired. Oscar's looking at me like it's potty time, so I'm going to let him potty. You all have a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll try to catch you, if not tomorrow, maybe the next day, and I'll try to upload a craft video. I did make a medicine bag the other day. I think I put pictures of it on. It's a little medicine bag you wear right here. That was the biggest pain in the butt to sew, that I will never make anything that small ever again. No, ma'am. I'm fixing to start on a coyote bag and another raccoon skin hat. So I will try to do craft videos of those and upload them for you over the weekend. And if I can, I don't know Dave's schedule, but if he has a day off, I may try to grab him. He misses seeing y'all, but he is so busy right now. He's just working himself to death. I know I never want money because money just creates problems. I know. Somebody says you could have a pile of gold bullion or a pile of cow crap. I would say, give me the cow crap. I need to fertilize my acreage because that gold ain't going to bring nothing but the manure that's sitting beside it. I would pick the cow crap. Lord. And that's just how I think, y'all. That's just how I think. Somehow ends always meet, the Lord always provides, and good friends always are there to support you. And what more can you ask for, especially in a world where 85,000 children are missing in our nation right now? At least we all know where we are and can come together and have a conversation. Yeah, I just want my bills paid. I don't like people chasing me, especially when I'm trying to pay them and they chase me. And it's like, leave me alone. I've already paid you this month. So, yeah, I'm not big on physical things. And honestly, if somebody needed the shirt off my back, I would walk around with my big fat belly showing to the world to give somebody the shirt off my back. I'd probably blind half the neighborhood, but something, I'd feel good about giving somebody my shirt. So, Lord have mercy. But I'm going to shut up now, take care of my dog, and then I'm going to take a nap. I'm going to follow the FedEx tracker and see when this guy shows up. I don't have a lot of faith that he'll actually show up, but something, I'll update you if he does. So I'm going to get now and take care of my dog and take a rest. Y'all have a good night. Gypsy, I'll probably talk to you later. Everybody, go get curious. Go do your research. Give me some feedback. I'll post a community link and you can tell me what you find. So look for that tonight. I'll see you later. Bye, guys.